Despite Taylor Swift being the most nominated artist of the night with an impressive 12 nods, NFL player Travis Kelce didn't attend the event due to commitments to football's regular season training. He wasn't there, her boyfriend just didn't show up on the biggest night of her life. What? Sources close to the couple confirmed that Kelce needed to return to Kansas City by Tuesday for practice, highlighting the demands of his professional schedule. Sure, now the pair recently spent quality time together in New York, attending the US Open matches, a wedding, and they even enjoyed a stylish date night, suggesting that they've had some recent opportunities for bonding. But is this really the reason that Travis missed the show last night? I mean, this is 15 years after Taylor Swift was humiliated on live TV. It's her biggest year ever, and her man can't even take a day off practice. I don't buy it, people. I feel like there's more to this story. Taylor and Travis have yet to make a red carpet appearance together, and the rumors of a split might have something to do with his absence. The documents were titled Comprehensive Media Plan for Travis Kelce's Public Relations Following Breakup with Taylor Swift. It's kind of a wordy title, but it's a real document apparently. They detail a plan for the power couple to break up on September 28th and the steps needed to ensure that Kelce's image takes the least heat as possible. Maybe he was absent because this document was not fake nor fabricated. Maybe it's real. Maybe there's more to this that will soon be revealed on September 28th. Do you believe it? Do you believe this leaked document? Comment down below. It's been 15 years since Kanye West interrupted Taylor Swift at the MTV VMAs. And oh, how the times have changed. Kanye used to be able to walk up to people on stage, grab their mic, and just say whatever he wants. But today, Kanye West isn't even allowed back in the building. On top of a disappointing album rollout, Kanye has been in the media constantly for all the wrong reasons. The scandals just keep getting worse and worse. In early 2024, Kanye West found himself at the center of the nitrous oxide scandal. Words I couldn't even believe I was saying. Kanye West found himself at the center of the nitrous oxide scandal, where Kanye West was accused of using this substance a lot, facilitated by none other than his own dentist, Dr. Thomas Connolly. Now, this scandal opened up a broader conversation on the ethics of medical professionals in celebrity care. Meanwhile, Kanye's comments have been veering into deeply problematic territories, only furthering his isolation from the entertainment industry. His announcement to run for president in 2024 certainly didn't help. This was overshadowed by his recent erratic behavior and previous controversies, of course casting doubts on his new political aspirations. Imagine Kanye as a president? Oh my gosh. As each scandal unfolded, the narrative of Kanye West in 2024 painted a portrait of talented yet increasingly controversial figure, struggling under the weight of public scrutiny and personal misjudgments. I think Kanye should have been banned for life. What do you guys think? I think he should never be allowed back at the VMAs. Ever. Just to play it safe. Can't do that and then get away with it. No way. Britney Spears was missing during last night's MTV VMAs. After her epic fail in 2002, I don't think the VMAs ever want Britney to come back again. The 2002 VMAs became an awkward, memorable event, particularly due to a mix-up involving pop icons Britney Spears and none other than Michael Jackson. Held on August 29th, the awards coincided with Michael Jackson's 44th birthday. This of course set the stage for quite a unique celebration live at the VMAs. The producers decided to surprise Michael Jackson with a birthday cake, and Britney Spears was chosen to present it. Just a cake. That's all. Now, as she took the stage to introduce Jackson, Britney referred to Michael as the artist of the millennium. Now, this unintentionally misled the introduction of Jackson to believe that he was being awarded for the Artist of the Millennium award, which is crazy. When Jackson joined Britney on stage, he proceeded to deliver a heartfelt acceptance speech for an award that didn't actually exist. How awkward is that? He expressed his disbelief and gratitude, reflecting on his journey from Indiana as a child to global superstardom. He told the crowd, quote, "When I was a little boy growing up in Indiana, if someone told me I'd be getting the Artist of the Millennium award, I'd never have believed it." Us either, Michael Jackson, we wouldn't have believed it either, because it's not a real thing. He went on to thank God and magician David Blaine for this incredible honor. I guess, yeah, those two do go hand in hand. If I was Britney Spears, I would never present an award again. God, that must have been so embarrassing. Will Smith performed his newest single live at the BET Awards in June, but in the middle of a musical comeback, Will Smith was nowhere to be seen during last night's MTV VMAs. Releasing new singles like Light 'Em Up from Bad Boys 4 and Work of Art with his son Jaden Smith, it is clear that Will is trying to move on and grow after the Oscar slap in March 2022. But the question is, can we really forgive Will Smith for slapping Chris Rock on live TV? Probably not for a while. Will MTV ever forgive him and let him back? Probably never. The incident has significantly impacted his relationship with the entertainment industry, specifically these high-profile live events where the presence of many celebrities and industry professionals make his participation a little shady. It's kind of controversial now if he's around. Everyone's probably thinking, I hope Will Smith doesn't come up and slap me in the middle of my speech. It's happened before, so who knows? So of course, as a result, even amidst a resurgence in his music career, Smith is now finding himself sidelined from the MTV VMAs. Unable to share the stage with other popular musicians, reflecting a cautious approach from organizers who are wary of potential disruptions or disasters. Comment anything else that we may have missed from the VMAs last night, and thanks for joining us on Beyond the Screen.
The VMAs were last night, and singer Chappell Roan yelled at a photographer on the red carpet, and for a good reason too. Now the star was posing for the cameras when one of the photographers yelled at her to shut the F up. Now why he would yell this at her, I have no clue. But Chappell wasn't going to back down. She pulled a face, walked close towards him, held her finger up and yelled back, "You shut the F up, no, not me, B." Now, this was the first time in a long time we've seen a celebrity stand up to photographers, which honestly, good for her. Celebrities are people too, and I can't imagine how stressful it would be to go on a red carpet and have people yell at you like that. Afterwards, Chappell addressed the incident in an interview, saying, "This is quite overwhelming and quite scary. For someone who gets a lot of anxiety around people yelling at you, the carpet is horrifying." And I yelled back, "You don't get to yell at me like that," she told Entertainment Tonight. And again, good for her. Now, it's been rumored that the photographer that she yelled at has a history of being rude to the celebrities he tries to photograph. Why he keeps being allowed back on red carpets is beyond me, as he should honestly be banned. Now, I'm glad that someone finally stood up to him, as it appears this was a long time coming. Now, a lot of people were on Chappell's side with this altercation, with fellow artist Noah Kahan praising her on social media, saying, "I'll never forget leaving Clive Davis and the horrific photographers and paparazzi or whatever were saying to me in front of my sweet mom who couldn't believe it was actually happening. Love this at Chappell Roan, way to stand up for yourself." Now, it's great that Chappell has been getting support, as fans also praise the star. One user on Twitter said Chappell Roan is entering the industry with a sense of self-worth that everybody applauds in other women, as long as they endure mistreatment for a decade before developing it. Another added she had every right to snap back. Celebrities don't have to sit there and take it when people are rude to them. Again, I'm glad that she did this. Celebrities are humans too, and you can't just treat them however you want. Now, this was also one of Chappell's big red carpet events, so I'm sure she was super anxious, and having a man yell at you like that definitely doesn't help. Now, despite this altercation, Chappell had a great night. She performed her hit Good Luck Babe dressed as Joan of Arc in full medieval gear. She shot a bow and arrow on fire and let the castle behind her burn. Her vocals were amazing. It was an iconic performance. Now, Chappell was nominated for 4 different awards this year. She was nominated for Best New Artist, Performance of the Year for Red Wine Supernova, Best Trending Video for Hot to Go, and Song of the Summer for Good Luck Babe. Now, in the end, she won her first VMA, and it was for Artist of the Year. Now, she was so emotional accepting her award and announced that she had written a speech in her diary before the show, which she proceeded to read to the crowd. "I dedicate this to all drag artists who inspire me, and I dedicate this to queer and trans people that feel pop all around." She then shouted out the queer community in the Midwest of the United States, where she is from, saying, "I see you, I understand you, because I'm one of you." She then dedicated her award to the gays who dedicate my songs to someone they love or hate, and thank you to the people who are my fans, who listen to me, who hear me when I share my joy and my fears. Thank you for listening. And let me tell you, she deserved this award so much, and I am so happy for her. She's a true icon, and I'm glad we have a lesbian out there representing the LGBT community in such a great way. Now, it's also rumored that this star will be nominated for multiple Grammys this year, and I mean, she has to win at least one, as her career has blown up so much, everyone knows her name. Now, the night of the VMAs comes after Chappell has somewhat been facing backlash over how she's addressed fame, as she recently put out 2 TikToks calling out so-called fans for creepy behavior including stalking her and her family, bullying her online, and becoming extremely rude when she refused to pose for photos or give hugs. It's hard for artists to speak up because they're so scared of their fans hating them, but we're not actually talking about fans, we're talking about people who are harassing. And if you happen to be a fan, we're talking about you, she said. Now, some people on the internet didn't agree with this, saying this is what she signed up for and that's just the life of a celebrity. But Chappell has risen to fame in a short amount of time, and I'm sure it's extremely overwhelming, so good for her to set some boundaries. I mean, she had a huge set when she performed at Coachella and Lollapalooza. I mean, she even had to be given a bigger stage at one of the festivals she played this summer because her demand was so high. Now, in an interview recently, she admitted that she has a stalker, someone who she met in Missouri. The person is extremely creepy as they showed up to her parents' home and even her hotel room in New York. So now I have to have security, she admitted. It's so lame. And it is lame. And scary. I really can't imagine something like that happening to me. And she also went on to detail other incidents, including the time where she flew to Seattle and fans got a hold of her flight information and met her at the airport. While there, she said a grown man berated her about not signing an autograph until the airport police showed up. Then that same man was present with a group of paparazzi when she landed back at LAX. Again, creepy. Chappell was honest about this interaction and said, "I got home and dropped to my knees. I have a hard time crying now because of my meds, but I sobbed and was screaming." Now that's not all though, as in August she was celebrating a friend's birthday at a bar when a fan grabbed and kissed her. Yeah, that is not okay. But unfortunately, the night wasn't over. She later learned that her dad's phone number got leaked online and people were calling and texting him. Now this caused her to make those TikToks calling out the poor behavior and saying how scared she was with her newfound fame. Chappell revealed that she had met up with Boy Genius members Lucy and Julian, and that the third member, Phoebe Bridgers, also came over to her house to talk about how fandom behavior has become more and more violent. Now the Paramore singer Hayley Williams reached out to Chappell via DMs and offered to talk to her whenever she needed. Now Hayley also posted an Instagram story after Chappell addressed fans' creepy behavior on Instagram. "This happens to every woman I know from this business, myself included. Social media has made this worse. I'm really thankful Chappell is willing to address it in a real way in real time. It's brave and unfortunately necessary," she wrote. Now Chappell also said that Katy Perry gave her advice to never read the comments and that legend Elton John had called her. Chappell said, "I was telling him I was struggling a lot and he said, if you need to stop, say stop. I am very protective of her," John told Rolling Stone. "She is kind, innocent, and wonderful. She's not Chappell Roan off stage, a bit like me. She is one of those people who I felt like I have known for a long time." And then Chappell had also spoken to Sabrina Carpenter, who was also thrust into fame this year, blowing up very quickly. Chappell said, "We're both going through something so effing hard, and she just feels like everything is flying and she's barely hanging on. It was just good to know that someone else feels that way, with her being flung into fame so quickly. I'm glad that she has a support system and isn't alone in all of this." Now it's clear that Chappell isn't your average celebrity with her blunt behavior, which is honestly so refreshing in this day and age. So hey, maybe her yelling back at the photographer is just the beginning, and I can't wait to see what else she does. But remember people, celebrities are people too, and they deserve respect just like anyone else.
Number 10. Miley Cyrus. On August 25th, 2013, Robin Thicke and Miley Cyrus performed together at the MTV Video Music Awards and made television history, but not in a good way. At the time, Miley was a 21-year-old Disney star hoping to break into the mainstream music industry, and 36-year-old Robin Thicke had one of the most successful singles of the summer, Blurred Lines, even though around that time it was also starting to be criticized for being lyrically problematic. But people lost their minds when they saw Miley dancing on the catwalk, wearing a flesh-colored bikini while twerking against Robin, who was decked out in a Beetlejuice-inspired striped suit. The bizarre performance also included giant teddy bears, lasers, and a foam finger, so it's no surprise that it went down as one of the most controversial in history, shocking viewers and changing the course of both of their careers. After the provocative performance, Robin walked away pretty much unscathed and decided to play dumb about the whole thing, while Miley was left with the extreme backlash and feeling exploited. Years later, looking back at that moment, she said, "Not only was culture changed, but my life and career were changed forever. It inspired me to use my platform for something much bigger." Number 9. Lil Mama. As Jay-Z and Alicia Keys brought their performance of Empire State of Mind to a close, Lil Mama decided it was a good time to jump on stage, and she tried to crash the performance, something which she later said ruined her career. Reflecting back on the moment in 2015, she told Complex, "It hurt. It took a lot of mental strength, spiritual strength, and physical strength not to want to hurt others, not to want to hurt myself. A lot of people felt like they didn't want to take a chance on me with certain things because it might have made Jay-Z or Alicia Keys not want to work with them." But for Alicia's part, the Girl on Fire singer revealed that she doesn't have any hard feelings about the moment at all. In fact, she said she had no recollection of Lil Mama crashing the stage. Quote, "Basically, I remember absolutely nothing. I think I was so focused on performing, because when you perform, it's a lot. You gotta hit it, you gotta nail it, you gotta kill it. It has to be perfect. When I tell you 100%, I was oblivious to the idea that next to him was another person, which kind of scared the S out of me later when I figured it out." So basically, she didn't even realize anyone had crashed the stage because of all the adrenaline from performing. Number 8. Fifth Harmony. The group kicked off their performance at the 2017 VMAs with a major statement and decided to throw some major shade while they were at it. So what happened? Well, Ali, Normani, Dina, and Lauren took the stage alongside a stand-in for an ex-group member who was none other than Camila Cabello. As the performance starts, the fifth member gets literally yanked off stage. The whole thing was so in your face that naturally, fans assumed it was meant to represent the exit of Camila, who left the group in 2016 due to creative differences, or basically just to pursue a solo career. But it wasn't until after the show that the foursome stopped by Good Morning America to set the record straight. Dina said, "We get asked all the time if we're getting a fifth member, and we wanted to show the world in an artistic way that the four of us are Fifth Harmony, and we're stronger and better than we've ever been." She added that the performance was a monumental moment for the group and made it clear that she wanted fans to stop pressuring them to get a fifth member, which is completely understandable, but at that point they should have just considered calling it Fourth Harmony. Number 7. Lady Gaga. Everyone remembers a shocking moment when Lady Gaga pulled up to the red carpet of the 2010 VMAs in a literal meat dress. And if you're wondering, yes, the meat was real. In fact, it was a mix of steak and prime rib along with a matching purse and shoes. But apart from being pretty grotesque, the dress was initially so controversial because a lot of fans interpreted it as a message against animal rights, and just another way to shame vegans. So Lady Gaga took to the Ellen Show to clear up the meaning behind the dress. She explained that the meat dress was tied to her protest against the military's "don't ask, don't tell" policy, and was a statement against the governmental restrictions placed on the rights of gay soldiers. Quote, "It's certainly no disrespect to anyone that's vegan or vegetarian, as you know. I'm the most judgment-free human being on the earth. It has many interpretations. But for me, this evening it's saying, if we don't stand up for what we believe in, if we don't stand up and fight for our rights, pretty soon we're going to have as much rights as the meat on our bones." It's clear that she really meant it though, because she did walk the red carpet with 4 queer former members of the US military for an added show of support. But in the end, people also thought it was just a waste of meat. Number 6. G-Eazy. When the rapper hit the stage with pop princess Britney Spears at New York City's Madison Square Gardens, the performance had undeniable chemistry. During their sexy number, the pair grinded against one another, and Britney even placed her hand over G-Eazy's crotch at one point. The two of them did seem to be getting close earlier in the night as well, considering the fact that they walked the red carpet holding hands and hugged while posing for photos. But in the end, she just wasn't that into him. Everyone remembers the awkward moment when Britney dodged a kiss from Eazy during their performance of Make Me. So regardless of their flirty interactions, it became clear that she was not about to lock lips with the rapper after he attempted to go in for a kiss moments before he took a bow. In fact, she clearly pushed him away and shook her head saying no when he made his advance. When speaking about her decision later, Britney straight up said he has a girlfriend, and admitted that she was taken aback because the rehearsal didn't include that much touching. Number 5. Nicki Minaj. The onstage spat at the 2015 VMAs between Nicki Minaj and Miley Cyrus was probably the most shocking and talked about moment of the night. While receiving her award, Nicki took the opportunity to lash out at the host. Back to this bee who had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley, what's good? Miley was taken aback for a second, but she managed to save face and said that interviews get manipulated and congratulated her. Producers were able to censor the curse words, but a beep doesn't really block our lip reading abilities, and it's clear that Nicki dropped a few more F-bombs while Miley continued talking. Nicki later told New York Magazine about the moment and said, "I saw Miley just looking at me with her face screwed up and I thought, what the?" But she also said it was deeper than that. Nicki was upset that the former Disney Channel star was using black culture as a means to reinvent herself and shed her good girl persona, while at the same time being ignorant about the issues facing that community. She did have a point because Miley has since ditched hip-hop in favor of rock, which we all agree suits her a lot better. Number 4. Katy Perry. There have been many memorable moments from the MTV Video Music Awards, but while making this list, it was pretty hard to ignore the disaster that was Katy Perry and Riff Raff's 2014 VMA matching outfit. As a part of a publicity stunt, the unlikely pair, who had just collaborated on Katy's song This Is How We Do, wore matching denim outfits that were definitely a tribute to the 90s pop power couple Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake. In fact, if you look closely, the styles of the clothes themselves are almost an exact replica, so it wasn't really an original move. Other than the fact that their outfits were all denim, Katy's dress had all the key distinct features of Britney's dress. Both dresses had a sweetheart cut and were made with a mix of light and dark wash denim. Both accessorized their outfits with a small rounded handbag and a western style belt, and a sparkly choker. Not only that, but Riff Raff's two-piece denim suit had the same collar cut and chevron shaped design on the chest pocket that Justin's two-piece had. Although the rapper wasn't wearing a denim cowboy hat, he wore a similarly shaped pair of sunglasses. And the cherry on top was that Katy and Riff were smiling and posing as if they were dating, just like the couple that they were copying. Number 3. Madonna. Anyone who didn't live under a rock knows where they were the night that Madonna shared her infamous onstage kiss with Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, live at the 2003 VMAs. It was perhaps one of the most famous moments of controversy, and Madonna's second major unscripted moment at the MTV VMAs. She performed Like a Virgin in front of a wedding chapel on stage, where she then kissed Britney Spears full on the mouth and then Christina Aguilera right after that. The camera then cuts to Justin Timberlake's stern expression, which is hilarious because he was dating Britney at the time. So the whole thing was pretty awkward and clearly a publicity stunt with some in-your-face queerbaiting. But the double kiss eventually became Madonna's most notorious performance of all time, and it's clear that she's always been pushing the envelope when it comes to displaying her sexuality. It's just another reason she's been able to maintain her icon status for so long. Interestingly enough, in an interview about the VMAs several years later, she actually said she wouldn't kiss Britney again, leading many to question what really happened between the two of them. Number 2. Rage Against the Machine. It was the year 2000, and the band had just lost to Limp Bizkit for Best Rock Video of the Year at the VMAs. The band was pretty disappointed, but no one more than the group's bassist Tim Comerford. In an act of protest, he decided to interrupt Fred Durst's acceptance speech by climbing the structure on the award show stage. The climb visibly shocked everyone in attendance, and the police were even called to ensure the rocker got down. He was eventually arrested by police and had to spend a night in jail. In an interview years later, Tim explained his reaction, saying, "We were up against Limp Bizkit, one of the dumbest bands in the history of music, and I'm sitting there with Michael and I'm like, hey man, if that camera doesn't come over here, I'm climbing up that structure and I'm gonna sit there like an effing gargoyle and throw a wrench in this show." And he's like, "Tim, follow your heart." But there was clearly chaos within the band itself, as only a month after the VMAs, Zach De La Rocha announced his departure from the band, which marked the end of Rage Against the Machine for a long time, with the group only reuniting in 2007 and performing occasionally throughout 2011. And coming in at number 1, Kanye West. More than a decade ago, there came a VMAs moment that will live forever in infamy. It was a moment in which Kanye West stormed the VMAs stage as Taylor Swift attempted to accept her award for Best Video by a Female Artist. He declared that Beyoncé is the rightful recipient of the Video of the Year award and said, "Yo Taylor, I'm really happy for you and I'ma let you finish, but Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time." It seemed like a harmless stunt brought about by a little liquid courage, considering that Kanye arrived on the red carpet that night clutching a bottle of Hennessy, and reportedly passed the bottle around to fellow celebrities as he waited for the show to start. But the resulting fallout from that moment was explosive. What happened at the 2009 VMAs helped define Twitter as the conversation driver it is today. In fact, the story foreshadowed Kanye West's eventual transformation into a pop culture villain, and also set the narrative that Taylor Swift would always be a pop culture victim, considering that she was only 19 at the time and reportedly cried backstage after the incident, before she had to go back on stage and perform. The moment not only became the face of 1,000 memes, but incited one of the biggest pop feuds of the 21st century.
So starting off our list today at number 10, we have Chris Brown. Considering Chris Brown had a major meltdown at the Grammys, it's not really surprising that the star was disinvited from this year's show, with the singer becoming completely unhinged over the last couple of weeks, as he has not only dissed the artist that beat him out for a Grammy, but he's also lost his mind about how his fans are still outing him for what he did to Rihanna years ago. Chris has now sparked even more fury after he grabbed former Love Island star Natalia Zopa by the throat while giving her a lap dance during his Manchester live show earlier this week, and what is proving to be a signature move as he tours around the UK, as no one in North America wants to see him live, so he has to do it in the UK. The R&B singer, who has a history of violence, wrapped his hands around the beauty's neck before grinding on her. This would come just weeks after Chris berated his critics for repeatedly mentioning his brutal altercation with his then girlfriend Rihanna in 2009. Fans in the Academy are now calling the latest footage displaying Chris's behavior as disturbing and hideous, as you can visibly see Natalia was uncomfortable as Chris kept putting his hands on her neck. And now he has been banned from attending this year's show, which will definitely cause Chris to lose his mind on social media platforms shortly. Number 9, Kanye West. You would think that right after Kanye West took to the stage to interrupt Taylor's acceptance speech in 2009, he would have been barred from any award shows going forward. But it wasn't until February 2015 when Kanye reprised his most infamous stunt at the 2015 Grammys that would have Kanye West barred from all future award shows, after Kanye took to the stage to interrupt Beck, who was accepting the Album of the Year award. The organizers of the major award shows like the Grammys, VMAs, People's Choice Awards, and the Oscars would unanimously agree to disinvite and bar West from their respective ceremonies. The television networks that also air these awards programs also went on to join the West boycott movement. And while the star definitely had the chance to be reinvited at one point, after he made some anti-Semitic statements and created a slew of controversies, he can kiss any invite goodbye for years to come. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, it would really help us out. Coming at number 8, we have Hailey Bieber. If Justin Bieber attends the VMAs this year, turns out he won't be able to take his wife with him, as rumor has it. She has been disinvited due to her uncalled mean girl behavior. Now, if you've been completely offline for the past couple of weeks and have no idea what I'm talking about, it's still likely that you heard something about the fresh drama that's surrounding Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber, with Hailey being accused of not only fat shaming Selena, but also making fun of her overall appearance. It has caused the internet to choose sides in the matter, as it seems like everyone is on Team Selena, just like they should be. With Hailey's nasty personality being released, the VMA organizers have found it would be best if Hailey doesn't show up to this year's show, as it could be problematic if Selena and her run into each other on the red carpet, and the VMAs definitely wants to avoid a full-out mess. So with Hailey out, we definitely won't see Justin attend, and if he does attend without his wife, it could indicate that he and Hailey are headed towards a divorce shortly. Number 7, Miley Cyrus. Back in 2020, MTV would post an article written by Brittany Vincent. In the article, Brittany would point out the reason why we haven't seen Miley at any of the award shows lately. And even Miley has hinted to why she hasn't been invited to any award shows when she posted a clip of herself from 2013 MTA VMAs where she could be seen taking a joint out of her black Chanel clutch and lighting it up on the stage in the middle of her presenting duties. She then went on to caption the video by saying, "And we wonder why I'm not invited to award shows anymore." And then in 2015, Miley would find herself being even banned
banned from attending and performing at the VMAs after her performance shocked many viewers. I guess not everyone could appreciate Miley's tongue and booty shaking moment like the rest of us did. Number 6. Morgan Wallen. Not everyone has completely forgiven country singer Morgan Wallen, as he is still being blocked from attending many music events such as the VMAs. Back in 2021, a video of Morgan would start to circulate online, and it would show him in the video using the N-word. And since Morgan has been banned from attending most award shows, and most reps for these shows have agreed that Morgan has been banned because of his conduct and that it doesn't align with the show's core values, and if they did include him in the shows in any capacity, they would be saying that they agreed with what he did, and that's something they just can't support. Even with Morgan issuing an apology and doing an interview with GMA in July of 2021 where he said he was working on himself, the Academy still believes the country singer hasn't done enough work to participate in any shows as of now. Number 5. Courtney Love. If there's one thing you should never do, take my advice and never get on Madonna's bad side, because even today, the power she holds can ban you from attending any award show she will be present at, and that's exactly what happened to Courtney Love. So during Kurt Loder's post-show red carpet interview for the 1995 broadcast, Madonna was clearly starting to settle into her distinguished elder stateswoman era. And while she was having a lovely conversation in the post-show red carpet interview, Kurt invited Courtney Love up, and then she started to interrupt Madonna by tossing items out of her makeup bag. The whole world would then witness a very strange and legendary live television event that Madonna was extremely upset about. And we haven't seen Courtney attend the VMAs since. Number 4. The Baby. Following his homophobic rant and inaccurate comments during his performance during the 2021 Rolling Loud Festival, the Baby would find his career being flushed down the toilet after business partners and radio stations have began to drop the rapper from their schedules. Even while the rapper has tried to move on from the situation, it just seems like the world isn't ready to forgive him for spreading so much hate and misinformation about the LGBTQ+ community. Even when the Baby tried to issue an apology, he just found his hole growing even bigger after he decided to double down on his initial claims. Since the Baby has been cancelled from performing at any music events, his shows have been cancelled, and he's not allowed to attend any award shows like the VMAs. So it makes you wonder if he'll ever be able to bounce back from this, but honestly, the chances seem pretty slim. Number 3. Conor McGregor. During the VMAs in 2021, UFC star Conor McGregor and artist MGK almost got into an altercation that nearly turned physical. When McGregor and Kelly were both on the MTV Video Music Awards red carpet, things took a heated turn when Conor could be seen lunging at Kelly, who was being held back by security and maybe now former fiance Megan Fox? Conor was then later escorted away, but another video would capture him throwing a cocktail in Kelly's direction. Now it is unclear exactly what started the conflict, as neither party commented on the situation, but some had claimed that McGregor walked up to Kelly and then he was pushed away by Kelly's security team instead. But the VMAs is keeping Conor away from the event as they don't want to risk any potential knockouts that could ruin MGK's career anymore. But don't worry, Conor, I'm sure Eminem will have you back, considering he did once flush MGK's career down the toilet after he dissed the rapper on his diss track. It was so bad MGK then had to leave the rap scene and turn to acting and then rock music just to stay relevant. Number 2. 6ix9ine. Back in 2018, Nicki Minaj would confirm that rapper 6ix9ine was banned from attending the MTV VMAs, and it's probably because the controversial rapper not only admitted to doing some pretty messed up things, but he also snitched on others during the process, so he didn't have to do any jail time. After losing respect from the rapping community, the controversial New York rapper was intended to perform with Nicki Minaj for their song Fifi on Nicki's stunning VMA set. However, 6ix9ine wasn't approved by officials despite her best efforts, and that's probably because the Academy knew 6ix9ine made a lot of people angry, and having him at the show creates a security threat for anyone attending, and that's why he's been banned from attending the awards since, as they can't guarantee his safety at the show or the ones who will be forced to sit near him. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Andrew Dice Clay. If we're going to discuss celebrities who have been banned for life from the VMAs, then we need to talk about X-rated comedian Andrew Dice Clay. When he was asked to introduce Cher in 1989, it would turn out to be a pretty big spicy 3 minutes for TV, as he went on to debut 2 infamous dirty nursery rhymes for the audience. He also apparently said 2 of the 7 words you should never say on TV. Shortly after, he was then banned from MTV MTV, and apparently the broadcasters haven't reconsidered their decision in decades, as Andrew has still been banned from appearing at the VMAs. He did appear for a sketch on another broadcasting station 3 years later, where he made fun of the exact situation that got him banned. And it's clear that unless he starts to show remorse, he won't be invited to any award shows going forward.
Number 10. Kanye West. There are so many reasons that this man is banned from ever attending another VMA show in his entire life. We could just chalk it up to him literally being a cuckoo. After all, he was fired from basically every company that he worked for after posting some really bad tweets that I will not get into at this time. But the reality is that Kanye was banned in the mid-2010s following several public mishaps, as well as one on stage that is still talked about to this day. The incident took place in 2009 when Taylor Swift attempted to accept her award for Best Female Artist of the Year. Kanye stormed the stage and took the mic from her hand. He told her that he was gonna let her finish, but that Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. Taylor still jokes about the incident to this day. While she was in Mexico City during her Eras tour, she took the stage to play her piano when the crowd started chanting her name, and she said that having someone interrupting you by chanting your name is the best way to be interrupted, and she should know. Kanye was issued a ban from the following year, but he has since received a lifetime ban and will only be watching the VMAs from a seedy internet website. Number 9. DaBaby. The rapper formerly known as Baby Jesus, yes that is true, has always had a bad boy streak in the music industry. He's known for dropping some pretty choice expletives on stage basically all the time, and even makes fun of his fans right to their faces. This unfortunately culminated in him deciding that it was appropriate to joke about a certain disease that is unnecessarily linked to the gay community. On stage, he told his fans that if you didn't show up with it today, or any other gnarly STIs, then put your cell phones in the air. He said a lot of weird stuff before saying the words "put your phones in the air," like he was playing a weird massive game of Guess Who. Alright, if you have brown hair, put your cell phone in the air. Of course, he was torn to shreds by the LGBTQ+ community, including icons like Elton John, Madonna, and one of his collaborators, Dua Lipa. Not only was he canceled by his fans, but he was actually set to release a clothing line with fashion brand Boohoo Man, but they backed out following the public outcry. To top it all off, two of his biggest performances set to take place at Lollapalooza and a concert in Atlanta, Georgia, were canceled amid the flurry of complaint calls and emails that the venues were receiving. MTV has left his name off of their list of attendees this year, and DaBaby has yet to issue a public response to this ban, but we can imagine that it's a cautionary ban at this point. Number 8. NSYNC. Alright, this is not a ban, but I just wanted to talk about the absolute snub that took place at this year's ceremony. One of the original boy bands, NSYNC, reunited for the first time in so many years, and many fans were excited to see them back on the roster. Joey Fatone, Lance Bass, Justin Timberlake, JC Chazes, and Chris Kirkpatrick took the stage in front of a roaring audience. The legends together again, ready to do a show that would surely go down in history. But instead of doing the thing that they were famous for, they presented an award as a group. Why? Why'd you do that, MTV? That's like putting a guitar in Ozzy Osbourne's hand and asking him to take an eye exam.
What's this guitar for then? I'm the Prince of Big E, Big L.
It was honestly one of the most disappointing things about the evening. The show overall was pretty solid, albeit with a bit of a rocky start thanks to a little stunt from Olivia Rodrigo, but still solid. These guys should have done something, even if they just sang happy birthday or something even simpler. Instead, they presented Taylor Swift with Best Pop Video, and she went nuts. That wouldn't be the only time Taylor took the stage, winning half the awards that she was nominated for. Hey, they can't give her all of them, that'd be suspicious. Again, I know they weren't banned for being there, but it feels like they were banned from singing, and I will never forgive that. Number 7, Miley Cyrus. Miley and the VMAs are like bread and butter. They make such a delicious combo. They're so good. She was put on thin ice though in 2013 after performing a more X-rated rendition of her hit We Can't Stop that was just kind of mashed together with Robin Thicke's summer smash, Blurred Lines. Yeah, that is a very weird combination, and even weirder was what Miley did during that song, Too Thick. While singing his song, Miley Miley starts to shake what her mama gave her, creating a dance craze that literally shook the nation. There were bums flying everywhere. There still are to this day. While the performance was against their guidelines, it brought in millions of views. So they decided to offer her a gig as the host 2 years later in 2015. She did not do great, dropping F-bombs left and right and appearing in some outlandish and very revealing clothes that literally looked like they could burst at any moment. Following the gig, she was slapped with a temporary ban until things blowed over between herself and the host of this year's VMAs, Nicki Minaj. Number 6. Russell Brand. The comedian turned actor Russell Brand may be best known for his role as Aldous Snow in Get Him to the Greek and Forgetting Sarah Marshall, or for his musical chops with the real fake band Infant Sorrow. What many people may not know about the Brand Man is that the VMAs were actually his guilty pleasure for quite some time. Russell was a regular audience member and eventually he was asked to attend as a full-fledged host. The hosting gig has been debated by fans as being both great for his career and a career ender. He decided to take time away from the artists and he joked about the American president at the time, Barack Obama, and the former president, George W. Bush. He said a lot of stuff that I'm not allowed to repeat on the internet, literally calling Barack Obama another word for mentally challenged and another one that means cat. Following his time as a host, MTV decided he may not be the best fit for their program. The VMAs are supposed to be a fun night celebrating the most talented artists around, and instead Russell turned it into a political stand-up routine. Number 5. Janet Jackson. In 2004, a wardrobe malfunction shook the world, because hey, it was 2004, nothing crazy really happened. Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson were performing together at the VMAs when Justin accidentally exposed Janet's left chest to the audience. According to Justin's team, he was only meant to remove a rubber part of the costume to reveal a red lace bra, but something went wrong. MTV released a statement claiming the situation was unrehearsed, unplanned, and inconsistent with assurances that they had about the content of the performance. They claimed that they had no idea that this was even happening until the very last minute. In fact, for some reason, Janet received the most backlash from the event when it was Justin that actually exposed her to the crowd. Janet released a public apology, basically absolving MTV of any wrongdoing, but Justin's was just a little bit harder to watch. We don't have to get into it right now. It's just so cringy, it's so great. Despite the apologies and acknowledgments of wrongdoing, MTV banned Miss Jackson from ever appearing in any future shows as a performer. Number 4. Will Smith. Now I know what you're thinking, and yes, Will Smith is still considered to be a part of the music world because for a long time he was a regular attendee at the Video Music Awards, even taking home a few trophies in the late 1990s. Will Smith is of course banned from attending not just the VMAs, but most award shows in general after his little snafu at the Oscars. Now, if you don't know what happened between Will Smith and Chris Rock at the Oscars in 2022, then you must have literally been living under a rock for the past year. I'll just summarize it with this. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. That's it. The list of people who have lifetime bans from the Video Music Awards is fairly short, but Will has the honor of being the latest addition to the roster. While he is no musician these days, although I'm sure he still attempts to be, just look at his house, there's no way there is not a studio somewhere in that thing. It's surprising to see how many companies have just outright banned this dude. Even Nickelodeon won't have him on their stage. This man is banned from getting slimed. Legend, wait for it? Dairy. Let's not put that in the video, that's lame. Number 3, Andrew Dice Clay. MTV was really rolling the dice when they asked this guy to come on stage. Get it? Because he's got dice in his risky and I'm sorry, that was very uncalled for. The Dice Man is very well known for being a stand-up comedian that does not shy away from X-rated material. If you think Jack and Jill went up a hill to fetch a pail of water, you are in for a surprise. When he took to the stage at the VMAs in 1989, he delivered his signature brand, debuting 2 of his infamous dirty nursery rhymes that I would love to quote, but I will butcher them and this video will be removed from the internet. To make matters worse, he added a few choice words that were specifically thrown on a list of no words not safe for live TV. Following the show, he was issued a lifetime ban that stands to this day, because That's what lifetime means. Since 1989, his career has not skyrocketed. In fact, you probably only recognize him as Lady Gaga's dad in A Star Is Born, and only from that. It's no surprise that MTV has forgotten about the entire thing at this point. Hell, they won't even bother repealing anything or taking it back, because what would be the point? At this point, he would just be a really cool audience member. Number 2, Morgan Wallen. Morgan Wallen was making it big before a big misstep in 2020 landed him in handcuffs. According to fellow musician Kid Rock, Wallen was arrested outside of his establishment in Nashville, Tennessee for having a bit too much no-no juice and getting into a physical altercation. While being taken out of the building, he was breaking glasses and shouting some very harsh words, but that wasn't the only thing that he did that landed him in hot water that year. As many should know, 2020 was a year that we kinda skipped being told to stay in our homes and whatnot, but much like many rich people out there, Morgan decided to ignore that order and just kinda do his own thing. He was photographed having a wonderful time with some friends without a care in the world. Well, he really should have cared, because the following week he was supposed to perform on Saturday Night Live, but he was asked not to attend. The final nail that saw him canceled from attending most awards shows, including the VMAs, was a video that surfaced of him using racial slurs. The video went viral and his career quickly came to a pause. His music was pulled from radio stations, he was dropped from his record label while they tried to figure out the best way to handle the situation, and eventually he issued an apology, but it wasn't enough to get his name removed from the no-no list. And at number 1, Fart Man. If you've never heard of this superhero, good, let's keep it that way. Fart Man was a character developed by Howard Stern while still working for the National Lampoon. National was a magazine that eventually morphed into a radio production house and film studio. They're the people who made movies like the Vacation series, Van Wilder, and so many more. Following the end of the radio show at Lampoon, Howard decided to use the character on his own radio show. He claimed that people loved it, so much so that he decided to devote his time and efforts to develop a Fart Man movie. In 1992, he appeared at the Video Music Awards in what can only be described as the worst and most revealing superhero costume on the planet. This man looks worse than Halle Berry in Catwoman. His rear was exposed through holes in his pants, and as you may expect, this man is just all hair, so it was not a very pretty sight. Not only did he make people feel uncomfortable off stage, but on stage it was so much worse. As part of a stunt/intro to an award, he was lowered down onto the stage via wires, exposing everything to the audience. The movie never got made, the entire crowd was scarred for life, and MTV slapped him with a lifetime ban. For 10, behind the scenes beef. The Video Music Awards have been around since 1984. The very first ever hosts were Dan Aykroyd, who you may know from the Ghostbusters franchise, alongside Bette Midler, who you know from Hocus Pocus for sure, at Radio City Music Hall. While the event was organized to celebrate the best and brightest that the music world has to offer, what was accidentally created was a neutral meeting ground for some of the music industry's most volatile beefs. Over the years, both on camera and behind the scenes, music superstars have been known to confront their foe during the ceremony. Kanye West famously interrupted Taylor Swift's acceptance speech from 2009, not to mention Nicki Minaj taking the opportunity to verbally diss the host Miley Cyrus after winning her own award for Best Hip Hop Video in 2015. While the VMAs are designed to be a fun, music-filled event, some see it as a chance to get their point across on a larger scale or platform. Some on-screen feuds can be pretty entertaining, but if it happens more than once, then it really does make us beg the question, how much can the organizers really take at this point? Number 9, budget restrictions. One common theme at the VMAs every year is just how pretty it looks. Over the years, the set has become more and more elaborate. From the event, the lights get bigger and bigger and more complex, the LED wall of panels grows every year, the special effects are cooler and cooler, and the talent in attendance is astonishing. But we have to wonder, just how much does all of this cost? Well, yours truly used to be a geeky little audio-visual technician, and I have some answers for you. The entire back wall of the stage, depending on that year's specific layout, has an LED wall that consists of hundreds of thousands of little tiny lights that work together to create a crystal clear image on a 60-foot screen. Now, to rent one case of those panels, which is roughly like 6 per case, it's $20,000. And at 60 foot for the wall, that consists of like 120 panels each, and the VMAs have like a minimum of 3 walls every year. Not to mention the lighting setup is insanely expensive, like in the 6 figures figure realm, and the camera equipment it takes to film that event is also in that realm. So we have to wonder, just when will MTV run out of money? I mean, the channel's still on TV and fairly popular, but I swear, every time I turn it on now, it just plays ridiculousness. If you don't know what that show is, please look it up on YouTube and have yourself some fun. Number 8. Lack of stage barriers. In November of 2021, a fatal crowd rush occurred during the first night of the Astroworld Festival in Houston, Texas. The festival had been dealing with crowd control issues since the very first minute of the very first day. As before the end of the first night, it was reported that over 300 people were treated for injuries varying in severity. 25 people were hospitalized due to extreme injuries, and unfortunately 10 young souls are no longer with us. The cause of all of this was the sheer number of people in attendance and the lack of space to attend them. Since this event, many concerts and music venues have increased their security and have made counting heads more of a priority. At a recent concert for Harry Styles in Indiana, the staff wasn't doing their jobs properly and a massive crowd surge took place again. This time, the most severe injury, thankfully, was just 8 people losing consciousness after being pressed up against the barriers. Oh, and they lost the ability to breathe. With the concept of stage rushing and overcrowding becoming more and more of a trend, we fear that a similar event may take place at the VMAs should they still go on. The event will be taking place in the summer, which is already ground zero for heat-related difficulties. Well, with any luck, the fans will stay calm and respectful during the ceremonies. Just don't leave any bottles of water on stage, okay? Because someone will trample someone else to get it. It's free. Free water's the best. Number 7. On-stage altercations. While the world of Hollywood and music is no stranger to the occasional altercation or two, it's the VMAs where people seem to seize the opportunity to take their anger out to the stage. Over the years, many people have used the platform to make fun of other celebrities or address an issue that was taking place behind the scenes. Russell Brand, a famous British comedian and actor, once hosted the event in 2009 when he took time to bash the Jonas Brothers for wearing purity rings. This had nothing to do with the event, he just felt that it was necessary to bring it up, like something he had a problem with, and he really needed to make the show about him for a minute. When Nicki confronted Miley on stage a few years ago, it was over an interview Minaj had watched where Miley apparently bashed her behind her back. But they took the time out of what was supposed to be a celebration of music to spew their toxic feud sludge all over the show. With there really being no way to stop a celebrity from saying or doing something at the live event, the risk of a more severe on-stage altercation could be enough to get that show canceled entirely. Number 6. No longer live. Since the first Oscar ceremony in 1929, the show has been filmed live. Nothing is better than live TV. Every little flaw or misstep is happily welcome as a fun accident or bit. People are naturally bad at hiding their emotions, so it's beautiful to see the candid reactions from people who don't have a chance to collect their cool and maintain a strong face. Some of the purest moments of joy have been captured after the announcement that an award has been won, which is why it's so upsetting to hear that the VMAs actually might be taking a step back and becoming a pre-taped event. While there will still be a live audience in attendance, there are rumors that the show has decided to move to a pre-taped style to help keep the flow smooth and to avoid any live altercations beyond their control. Imagine if they pre-taped all of the VMAs from the past. We might have actually gotten to hear Taylor's acceptance speech from 2009. By making the event pre-taped, MTV is missing the point of an awards ceremony. It's a celebration and a time to honor the best our planet has to offer, not just a series of announcements with some musical acts in between, like, hey man, let the beat fly, MTV. 5. Banned list is long. Among the list of reasons why the VMAs may be canceled this year, it's a list of celebrities that are canceled from attending their event that's longer. The list of people not invited to this year's VMAs is stacked. Performers like Kanye West, Miley Cyrus, Morgan Wallen, 6ix9ine, DaBaby, all banned from having anything to do with the ceremony. There are multiple reasons that these people are banned. Some have actually hosted the event before and have had their feuds with other singers publicized, and others are just simply nuts, and MTV knows it. Regardless of the reason, the amount of people on this list is astonishing. There are currently over 30 artists who have either been banned or asked not to return. Cardi B is among those names, and she recently took to Twitter to express her wishes for fellow artists Normani and Lizzo to be booked if she will not be. If MTV is going to start banning the celebrities that are making headlines and drawing in the crowd, well, they're gonna run out of people to book pretty soon. Number 4, the host. The host of any award ceremony is the most important job. You are responsible for the flow of the show, and you're tasked with keeping the energy as high as possible. As mentioned earlier, the first hosts of this event were Dan Aykroyd, who was a comedian known for having impeccable timing and top-notch presentation skills, and Bette Midler, a singer who was known for her powerful voice and energetic live stage shows. The pair were a match made in heaven, and the first VMAs went off without a hitch. Over the years, many people have taken up the task of hosting this gig, and among the elites are Jack Black, Katy Perry, Jamie Foxx, Kevin Hart, and Chris Rock. There is no doubt these people brought everything to the table, and their respective hosting gigs went very, very well. This year, the host was announced. It's Drew Barrymore. Alright, Drew has been hosting a very popular talk show named after herself that is known for its candid interviews and positive environment to share and express oneself. So it makes sense that she'd be asked to host an awards ceremony at some point in her career, but the Video Music Awards? I don't know. Drew brings a soft-spoken energy to her hosting abilities, and while that isn't a bad thing at all, it's just not the style of the VMAs, you know? Just think about the fact that Jack Black once hosted the event. That man is a human bag of sugar. He has so much energy. Imagine him versus Drew Barrymore. That would be a massively cool fight. I'd check that out. We wonder if Drew is the right move for the 2023 VMAs, and if this may impact the future of the event as a whole. Number 3, the performance flubs. One of the integral parts of any VMA ceremony is the musical performances. The majority of the time, the people doing these bits haven't had a ton of time to rehearse, and there have been some onstage moments that were less than memorable. For instance, Miley Cyrus once hosted the event in 2015 and reminded fans of her performance at the VMAs in 2009 when she had been going through a bit of a rough phase and was being seen as more and more of a party girl. She did a dance that's now famous, and it's emulated by millions of people around the world to this day. Britney Spears famously flubbed her performance of Give Me More in 2007 and has been ridiculed following the event ever since. With so many stellar performers set to take the stage this year, we've gotta wonder if they've had their time to practice, and will they be the reason for the event coming to an indefinite pause? Number 2, the bad PR. While the event is normally seen as a fun and exciting celebration, paparazzi and media outlets love to create chaos. Following the incidents at Astroworld in 2019, news outlets have taken every opportunity possible to blast celebrities on the littlest instances. If someone passes out at your show, or you pause the show for even a few minutes for anything, people will take the opportunity to turn that story into something negative. Cause hey, as we all know, negativity sells, right? When someone gets in an altercation, whether it's verbal or physical, PR plays will be made to make them appear to be worse than they are. In 2013 especially, the chances of a negative PR storm in the news media and publicizing dirty laundry, very possible, if not certain. With the event set to take place at the end of August, several outlets will certainly be in attendance to get their last-minute juicy gossip before the end of the summer. Will they take that juicy gossip and run with it, or will they blow it completely out of proportions and take down the VMAs? Well, hopefully not. And number 1, the future. With all of these entries combined, the biggest reason the VMAs may be canceled in 2023 is simply due to its future. Right now, the VMAs are under a lot of pressure, with tight budgets looming and the list of celebrity beefs rising. The event is slowly becoming a breeding ground for public feuds, for negative press for performers, and a platform for those deemed canceled by MTV to possibly make a return and exact their revenge. If the VMAs are to continue as planned, a few things need to happen. First and foremost, a system needs to be in place to monitor the number of people in attendance accurately to avoid overcrowding or heat-related incidents. Secondly, the acts need to be given more time to prepare for their live event if they are expected to deliver on the promise of a solid performance. And finally, guys, do some digging. Find out who's got beef with who so we can maybe avoid putting those two on the same stage together. It might help the situation. Combine these with some changes in the financial department to bring down costs, and the show might be on the long road to a continued success. Number 10, Taylor Swift is petty. Taylor Swift is behind some incredible songs, but they tend to come from a fairly dark place. Famously, Taylor tends to draw inspiration from her music from the many breakups that she has suffered over the years. In 2013, she split up from One Direction star Harry Styles, but unfortunately she was brought face to face with him once again at the Video Music Awards. One Direction took the stage to present the award for Best Pop Video. Taylor can be seen telling her bestie and fellow pop video nominee Selena Gomez to shut the F up. Clearly there was still some bad blood between these two. Hey Siri, where's the nearest cliff? Later on in the night, when Taylor accepted the award for Best Female Video, she dropped some major shade right onto Harry's face. She thanked the man who inspired the song, I Knew You Were Trouble, saying, "You know who you are, and I now have one of these." The cameraman understood the assignment and panned over to Harry Styles, who was sitting uncomfortably in his chair, like the guy worked on The Office or something. Taylor's level of shade is never ending, and it looms over us all. Number 9. Britney's Python. Britney Spears was a pop sensation for quite some time before her career came to a standstill in the late 2000s. In 2001, she was at the height of her popularity and was asked to perform at that year's Video Music Awards with a little twist. She was joined by a special guest for her performance of I'm a Slave for You, and she was a bit terrified. Why? Well, her special guest was a massive python. A warning to anyone with a fear of snakes, there's probably going to be some pictures popping up in a moment. When looking back on her performance in her memoir, she says that the performance was one of her favorites and the most terrifying she had ever done. The moment is iconic, but the memory of the event has faded a bit over the years. Nothing crazy happened on stage. Imagine if that thing went wild and just ate Britney. In case you can't tell, I don't know much about snakes. Or anything really. The one that did happen for this event was MTV receiving thousands of letters from concerned PETA activists and animal rights organizers around the world. If anyone was in danger, it was actually Britney, not the snake, because the guy who handled it revealed that she asked if the snake would bite her, and he replied with, probably not. Something that he claims his agent hates him for doing, and that is very fair. Number 8. Michael's acceptance speech. Travel back to 2002 with me for a moment. It's just a jump to the left. That's a musical reference. On August 29th, the VMAs took place on what also happened to be Michael Jackson's birthday. In case you forgot, Michael was the Thriller guy and Macaulay Culkin's best friend. In honor of Michael and in celebration, MTV threw him a birthday party during the event. Britney Spears was tasked with presenting Michael and delivering his birthday cake. During her speech to set up Michael's arrival, she praised him as an incredible performer and referred to him as the artist of the millennium. Things got a little awkward when Michael took the stage and started giving a speech thanking the audience for giving him the Artist of the Millennium award. In one of the most uncomfortable moments in MTV's history, Michael began describing his childhood and how appreciative he was for the honor being bestowed upon him. The crowd was a little confused, but they ultimately decided to play along and gave him a massive round of applause. When Michael found out about the incident, he was actually more giggly than anything else. According to his management team at the time, he thought it was hilarious and felt like the biggest fool in the world. A happy birthday indeed. Number 7. We Can't Stop. I do apologize to whoever is editing this segment. You're going to be seeing a lot of Miley Cyrus that you did not want to see today. Miley and the VMAs are like bread and butter. They make for such a delicious little treat. Oh, they're so good. She will be making another appearance on this list, but today I want to talk about her performance at the 2013 Video Music Awards. Miley performed a more X-rated rendition of her hit We Can't Stop that was just kind of mashed together with Robin Thicke's summer smash Blurred Lines. Yeah, that's a weird combo. Even weirder was what Miley did during the song Too Thick. While singing his song, Miley starts to shake what her mama gave her, creating a dance craze that shook the nation. Literally, there were bum-bums flying everywhere. There still are to this day. The move was a part of Miley's attempt to break free from her Disney girl persona, and she's actually claimed that this night helped her grow up. These days, she's definitely not the same Miley as she was in 2013, so I'm not really sure what the life lesson is there, but I feel like it should not be dance till you feel old. But that's all I'm getting from it. Number 6, 2015 VMAs in general. The 2015 VMAs were just start to finish rough. Miley Cyrus hosted that year, which was not a great idea. Not that she did a bad job, but she was in the midst of a feud with Nicki Minaj. Nicki called her out when she took to the stage to accept Best Hip Hop Video Award, asking her what was good. Miley had just talked trash about her in the New York Times, and there was a brief back and forth, but all in all the night could have been way worse. Oh wait, it did get worse! On top of dropping a numerous amount of F-bombs during the show, there was a wardrobe malfunction. At one point in the show, Miley did a bit where she was holding part of the drape over herself while changing, but the drape slipped and revealed her bare chest to the world. No censor was able to catch it at the moment. Any footage now is of course blurred, but that's what happens when you do it live! It wasn't just Miley that caused the issues. Kanye West made a long-winded speech that was part rant, part truth bomb, and overall just mostly nonsense. The speech derailed the flow of the show and was just a little peek into the madman that was slowly being created. But hey, to top it all off, no Beyonce, no Madonna, no Lady Gaga. Like, what were you thinking? Number 5. Triumph versus Eminem. In 2002, rap legend Eminem was already in a very public feud with musician Moby following his accusations against Eminem of misogyny and homophobia. At the VMAs, there were only a few seats apart, so you could not cut that tension with a chainsaw. So leave it to the VMAs' favorite insult comic, Triumph the Insult Dog, to make the night even worse. He approached Eminem and started hounding him with his trademark sass, which he didn't appreciate, literally shoving this man's hand away from his face. Yeah, I'm sorry to break the illusion, but puppets are just people's hands jammed up a felt bum bumps. Eminem later took the stage to accept his award for Best Male Video. He berated Moby, calling him a little girl that threw him out of his zone. Yeah, it's not helping with the whole misogynistic thing. Triumph got the last laugh though when he did a press conference after the show, roasting Eminem just so hard. I can't quote all the highlights because there are just too many, so please, after this video, go check it out. After. Number 4. Meat Dress. Lady Gaga is known for her outlandish looks and crazy performances, but her appearance at the 2010 Video Music Awards proved that she was next level. Gaga appeared in a dress made entirely out of raw meat. Now at first this was thought to be a protest for animal rights, but it turned out it was actually a protest against the military's don't ask, don't tell policy. Not only did she make waves on the red carpet, but the audience was shocked to see it on stage after she won multiple awards. The dress is considered to be a staple when it comes to Lady Gaga and outlandish outfits, but who knows what she may bring to the table next. Number 3. Nirvana. Nirvana is an incredible crew, and when they were starting to gain popularity, people were noticing a trend. They loved to smash their instruments on stage. Towards the tail end of their set in 1992 at the Video Music Awards, Chris Novoselic threw his bass way up in the air, but instead of catching it, the instrument collided with his forehead. Audiences watched around the world as Chris tried to collect himself, surely imagining little cartoon birds flying around his head. The band continued the show, but Chris got a nasty goose egg as a souvenir. In interviews following the incident, he tells people how embarrassing it was that the only time he never caught his bass was on live television. Number 2. Snoop Doggy Dogg. Na 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 na. It's a bunch of words I can't say online. Snoop Dogg! Snoop D-O-double-G is a music maker, heartbreaker, and a lyrical creator, being behind some of the most well-respected rap songs of the last 30 years, getting his career started by fellow musician and NWA member Dr. Dre. However, early in his career, Snoop became involved in plenty of controversies, being charged with several things, ranging from owning a concealed no-no stick to ending a man's life. Teeter-totter, it's just the same thing. In 1993, he attended the MTV Video Music Awards without a care in the world. All the while, the police were literally searching for him as he failed to turn himself in a few days prior. Not only did he enjoy the night as an audience member, but he was slated to present an award on stage. A few days after presenting the award for Best R&B Video, Snoop turned himself in. Maybe not the most controversial moment for Snoop, but for MTV, they were basically harboring a fugitive. And at number 1, Fart Man. If you've never heard of this superhero, good, I hope this is the only time you do. Fart Man was a character developed by Howard Stern while he was working for the National Lampoon. National Lampoon was a magazine that eventually morphed into a radio production house and a film studio. They're behind the Vacation series, Van Wilder, and so many more. Following the end of the radio show at Lampoon, Howard used this character on his own radio show. He claimed that fans loved Fart Man, so much so that he devoted his time and efforts to developing a Fart Man movie. In 1992, he appeared at the Video Music Awards in what can only be described as the worst and most revealing superhero costume on the planet. That's right, it's even worse than Halle Berry's Catwoman. His rear was exposed through holes in the pants, and as you may expect, this man is just like all hair, so it was not a pretty sight. Not only did he make people feel uncomfortable off stage, but on the stage it was so much worse. As part of the stunt/intro to the award, he was lowered down onto the stage with wires exposing everything to the audience. Yeah, the movie never got made and an entire crowd of people got scarred for life. Way to go, VMAs.